sometimes you just find yourself in a bit of a funk in your business, right? I've definitely found myself in funks from time to time. And Nick found himself in a funk. He had a lot of success a short while ago, and then it kind of just stopped. And his energy was low. And a lot of the times when our energy is low, that kind of comes off in our content, that comes off in our marketing, that comes off in our sales, and even can come off in our coaching. And so this conversation with Nick from my hot seat really was meant to, get him out of the funk by going back to like fun and creative stuff in business and being okay doing that. But also what it turned into by the end was a very tactical and a very strategic conversation about, hey, let's have fun. Let's create a bit of a brand around a very, very strategic type of content, purposefully designed to attract the exact type of people that he's looking to attract, down to the different restaurants that he's actually going to target his content to, and work with them to get it out. And so I think that you will find this very useful, but I also hope that you'll find this perhaps a little bit inspiring if you're like kind of in a bit of a funk. And yeah, I'll be back at the end to recommend another episode to listen to afterwards and follow up. Talk then. Nick, you are up, my friend. So Nick, same thing, real quick. Who you are, who you serve, and what are we talking about, which I think is going to be somewhat similar, but probably we'll attack it from a different angle.
Yeah. So I'm Nick. I help busy professionals lose 20, 25 pounds in 12 weeks. That's my tagline, without giving up happy hour, carbs, those kinds of things. So it's really flexible dieting. It's helping people, once they get in the program, create a better relationship with food, better relationship with themselves, and then a byproduct, and the scale too. Byproduct of that is of course weight loss and just more of the lifestyle approach. So that's who I help. I've been doing this for about 2.5 years online, 2 years full time now officially. And the biggest thing, like you said, and it's funny because even your intro like lined up exactly what I'm talking about, is yes, I could talk about leads because that's such an easy conversation to talk about. And there's a lot of different directions on that, but it's more something now doing this for 2 years online. Like I've had a ton of success quick. And then now I'm just learning how to, lack of a better way to put it, create a better relationship with different seasons of it.
Yeah.
And I'm having I'm like an emotional roller coaster, whether it's a micro example is like a sales call that I think should have closed but didn't, and just it wraps me up. But a bigger thing, and why this is even coming to the surface, is this year, for some reason, even since January, I've had some good months and stuff, but it's like scratchy. It just felt like it's been a lot more work than even like last summer, and there's a variety of reasons on that. But April was my worst month in 2 years, and it's just the mind, the mind warp of all of that is what I'm struggling with most. And so, yeah, we can talk about leads, but more than that, like
Let's talk about recalibration. Let's talk about re-energizing a little bit, because we're not the same. I mean, I'm not a numbers guy, Jason, to be able to tell you. But my guess is that April was probably the worst month that we've had, also in a very, very long time. And I mean, we're not the only ones that this is happening to. It doesn't make it any better. But there's something going on right now where it's just there's so much fear and uncertainty. I remember this is a couple of years back, but I remember when COVID was really new, one of the things I said to our team was, there's only one time when people don't buy. People buy when they know they have money. People buy when they know they don't have money. The only time when people don't buy is if they don't know how much money they have. And where we're at right now is nobody has any idea what money is anymore, let alone how much they have or whether it's even worth anything. So let's talk about like recalibration, because I think that there's a lot of neat things that you can do here. And part of it is putting some more energy into what you're doing in ways that are like kind of fun. Part of it too is can we bring back some creativity? Because the hardest thing about when sales are down or when there's sales calls that you think might close that don't, it's really easy to get down, and then that kind of just starts to spiral downwards a little bit. And when you can do things that are a little bit creative, you start to get your own juices flowing a little bit more, and you start to have fun again. And that's what I have found is the best way to get myself out of any of these funks, which, like I said, they happen to everybody, and they will happen again at some point in the future. And so, playing with your topic, right? It's reasonably generalized. Like, it kind of means something, it kind of doesn't mean that much. It can mean something different to a whole bunch of different people, which I think is fine. But the best way when you're doing any kind of content pieces or any kind of vision mapping for content and how you want to approach it strategically is to try to make something that 10 or even 5% of your audience are going to absolutely love, and everybody else it won't really apply to. Like, maybe they'll be kind of interested in it, but it won't really apply to them. And so there are really fun ways for you to do that with your tagline. So tell me what it is again, just so everybody can get back on the same page.
Yeah, I help busy working professionals lose up to 25 pounds in 12 weeks without giving up carbs or happy hour.
Okay. Are there any where you live? What's the name of like a fancy restaurant that a lot of your people go to? Like basically just like, where do rich businessmen go to?
Yeah. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Okay. And it's a local one. Yeah. I mean, we have Ruth's Chris too. So why not create a video specifically for Ruth's Chris, where you look at their precise dietary, how much is in their steak, how much is in a drink, how much is in whatever. And you literally break down, you're like, here's how you can eat at Ruth's Chris twice a week and still lose whatever, couple pounds. And what you're doing there is a few things. Number one is you're targeting people who are like, I go to Ruth's Chris. Like, you could say, how do you eat steak and drink beer and lose weight? Or you can say, how do you go to Ruth's Chris, or even this specific Ruth's Chris, and eat this meal and still lose whatever, 20 pounds or get shredded or whatever. Because then what you can do is then you can tag Ruth's Chris as well. And you can tag the local one in where you live, for example. And you bet your ass they're going to share it. And what you can even start to do, if you have any relationships with anybody at any of these places, is you could maybe even do collabs with some of these restaurants. That could be like your thing. Right. And so this is where the vision comes in really, really handy. And this is where saying, okay, with a piece of content, I'm not going to try to do too much. I'm going to try to attract 5%. Am I just looking at people who like to eat a hamburger from Five Guys? Like, you're not talking about how to eat hamburgers. You're like, a hamburger from this specific place, or this exact beer from this craft microbrewery. And you just cycle those. You know what I'm saying? And you could just do it. It's like, there's this guy on Instagram. He's a TikToker, I think, actually. But he's also on Instagram because I don't have TikTok because I refuse to log into it. But his name is Papa Swolio. And he's got like 1 million followers. And literally every single video is him just saying, go to the fucking gym. Look him up. Over and over and over again in different ways. He just says, go to the fucking gym. It's like, it's not that complicated. So could your thing be just Ashley Papa Swolio? I don't know. Papa Swolio, I think it's like that.
I've heard you talk about him in your podcast too.
I mean, it's so entertaining, doing different languages and like, it's super. He'll be like, hey, why'd the chicken cross the road? To go to the fucking gym. Go to the fucking, like, it's just like, it's the stupidest, most ridiculous thing. But it shows you how simple this can be once you become kind of known for something. And so, you could become like I always wonder whether there's an angle. It's like, I don't know exactly how you'd voice it, but hey, I'm the get shredded while eating at fancy restaurants for rich guys guy. And basically, I just tell you how to make sure you're shredded. I tell rich people how to make sure they're shredded when they eat at fancy restaurants. And that's just like your thing.
Yeah.
And every like there's consistency, right? You know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly how you're doing it. You know exactly how you script it. And then you're gonna have these fancy restaurants reaching out to you, offering to pay you to feature them. And it's specific to your people.
Yeah.
That's what came to my mind the second that you started talking. I was like, oh, okay. I'm like writing down notes.
No, it's got my wheels turning. I'm just trying to think how I can message that. But I like, from a general standpoint, like you talked about, like getting creative and having fun with it, and kind of problem solving that way. But yeah, I mean, that is something that, not to go on a completely different tangent of niching, that's something that I felt like I haven't had to do like super closely, because I've just gotten a bunch of referrals, and like it's very general. Right. And so even busy professionals, I mean, it's very general, right? So
and do busy professionals call themselves busy professionals?
Probably not.
Have you ever met a busy professional who was like, hi, nice to meet you, I am a busy professional?
Right. Yeah, so I don't know if you have any ideas on like, yeah, I mean, because like targeting the affluent, wealthy, like how to say,
I like rich guy. I mean, it's like there's this big movement on Twitter towards anonymous accounts, and they Jaden, that's funny. There's this big movement towards anonymous accounts on Twitter where there's like car dealership guy, mortgage guy, and they're anonymous Twitter accounts, but they're building huge followings really quick. And I'm not saying that yours should be an anonymous account, but this idea behind like, can you become the guy for that? I think is really appealing. Like, can you become the guy for rich guys getting shredded while eating rich guy food?
Right.
Like, I don't know. That's pretty cool. I'm the guy for rich guys. I'm the guy that helps rich guys get shredded while they eat rich guy food.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Would you? Yeah. I know it's very direct, and I feel like some people, yeah.
Some people would be like, oh my God, I hate rich guys. You're like, cool. Like, that's fine. You don't need to be here. You can go to any of the other places on the internet. Right. As long as you like that.
Right.
I mean, if you don't like it, then that's a whole different conversation. But as long as you like that, and as long as it's your people, I mean, the nice thing about something like that, of course, is that rich guys like to do rich guy things, like to meet rich guys. Rich guys like to brag that they're rich guys often.
And they like to brag that they have a coach that they pay. And they're rich guys too. Yeah.
And especially, I mean, I think Ruth's Chris is a great example of a restaurant, because it's, I mean, we have them too. It's like the spot where the freaking, I don't know, account executives and investment advisors and stuff like that all go like after work for drinks together. And I imagine they have big social media. But I mean, you know, it's worth looking throughout your town too at which restaurants are not just like your target population, but also have social media presence. And just kind of creating a list and like starting there and working down.
Yeah.
Because once you get known for this, it's great. Once you create a flow for this, it's great. But it's going to take a little bit of time to get known for it and make a flow for it, obviously.
Right.
But you can see, I mean, whenever I think about any of this, I think about, this is going to be like the nerdiest sounding thing ever, but I think about network nodes. Like, what nodes are there on a network, and can you purposefully create your content so that it is appealing to very, very select nodes on that network? Can you work backwards? Like, can you design your, not try to create content and then try to push it to people? Can you actually design your content beforehand, knowing which network nodes, like the Ruth's Chris Instagram account, for example, knowing which node on that network you want to appeal to? I mean, how many people are going out there and creating content of how to eat at their restaurant twice a week and still hit their fitness goals?
Right.
If I was a social media manager for that company, I would be ecstatic. And then you just message them once you post it and you say, hey, you know, not sure if you saw it, like, message like their main account. I don't know. Let's look at this. Ruth's Chris. How many
Yeah, interested. I'm writing some of this stuff down. Yeah.
Ruth's Chris. Yeah, I mean, they only have 99,000 followers. So they're not too present considering how big that company is, but they still have 99,000 followers. They've got decent enough engagement. You know, they got 800, 1,000 likes. It's all stakes or whatever, but message them after you put it out. Just message their Instagram account and be like, hey, do you want this video to post on your thing? You want to do it as a collab? I can take mine down. We can repost it, do it as a collab. like you're basically going to this company and being like, I have created the perfect piece of promotional content for you. Here, it's done. Would you like it?
Yeah. No, I like it. And I'm gonna start looking around, because Ruth's Chris just came to my mind. But
do one on Ruth's Chris by the end of this week. I want to see it live.
Okay.
Don't even think. Don't start looking around. Just do one on Ruth's Chris before the end of this week.
Just like I'm thinking just put out a reel or something of explaining how to eat at Ruth's Chris and still.
Yep. Look up how many calories and stuff like that are in, like, you could even call them, like, call Ruth's. Here's what you do. Call Ruth's Chris and you say, hey, I'd love to come there. I'm thinking of coming there with a couple guys next week. Can you tell me what your most popular steak is? Which is the steak that's ordered the most? Thank you so much. Hang up the phone. You say, I called Ruth's Chris. They told me that this was the most popular steak. Here's the breakdown. If you order potatoes, if you order the veggies, here's how many calories it has. Here's how you can eat Ruth's Chris most popular steak twice a week and still be shredded as a guy. Boom, 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 boom. Right?
Cool. I like it.
Cool. John again, and I hope that you enjoyed that conversation. That kind of started with a little bit of inspiration, like, let's bring back some fun into this thing, right? But then got very tactical at the end and really, worked backwards, said, hey, like, let's play around with this a little bit. Let's talk about what we can give other people that'll benefit them, and at the same time benefit ourselves, right? This isn't a zero-sum game. I mean, this is a game where everybody can win if you kind of position stuff the right way. A lot of the times when people make content, I think that they kind of do it backwards. They create content and then they try to figure out how to promote it. I actually think you should figure out where that content's going to be promoted, that'll best serve you, and then work backwards. And as you're strategically building the content, strategically build it so that it appeals to and attracts the people and the places that are going to promote that piece of content. So anyway, hope that helps you. This was conversation from a hot seat in my mentorship. And so if that's something you're interested in, we work with people who are already doing 1,000 a month. We help them scale. People start like 1,000 up to 20,000 a month, right? And we help them scale up from there. And I think we had somebody just did like 97,000 a month, which was quite a bit in our mentorship last month. And so we take people all along the spectrum, right? Anyway, if that's something that you're interested in and you work in health or fitness or nutrition, coaching in any capacity, please send me a DM on Instagram. I'm at It's Coach Goodman. It just says mentor. We'll have a conversation. DM, see if if it's worth a call. If so, look, it doesn't cost anything. And you might get some clarity on what you're doing in the meantime as well. If you are looking for another episode to listen to, I'm going to recommend episode 55 to you. This is part 1 of a 3-part series called 22 Lessons from a $5 million a year coaching business. And part 1 of these lessons is kind of deep and meaningful. The title of the episode makes it, it's like, you got to get money, you got to get money. But it's more than that. It's deeper than that. I talk about a lot of what I feel really matters and why we do this thing and why we work for more freedom and how money can contribute to that. But money is not the only thing that's there. And some of the stuff that I really value. Anyway, a lot of people messaged me, said that this one really resonated with them. So if you are looking for something else to listen to, that is episode 55. And it's called 22 Lessons from a $5 million a year coaching business, part 1. Just scroll back wherever you're listening to this podcast and you'll find it. Enjoy.